Hello everyone. So in the last video we discussed about building a classifier or router which can take the prompt and decide whether this request should go to the base knowledge or the static knowledge of the model, or it should be used as the knowledge base of the RAG like a ChromaDB where we have stored all the data as the vector in the form of vector, or it should be a live data where we should fetch the data from the API endpoints. So for that, what we tried using the base model which we fine-tuned, and we saw the accuracy was 66%, and when we tried to use the few shots it actually reduced from 66 to 52%. And why it happened? Because we were using the llama 1 billion model, and with the small model few shots actually not help them but overwhelm them, and that misguide them. So that's why. And also it was creating the new categories like economics, games. So that was kind of a new thing, like generate like generative AI model cannot use to create the categories because they create the new categories. So today we are going to how to solve this problem. So today we are going to solve this using new models like encoders, we call it, like a DistilBERT. And so how to do that? So here, if you can see on my screen, I'm on my collab. uh, I'm down in the first cell. I'm create installing the Anthropic. Why Anthropic? Because I'm creating a new data set, which around 450 data, with the three categories: static, knowledge base, and live data, like how we were doing in the previous demo. The static, which is inbuilt in the model itself; knowledge base, which we have in the ChromaDB; or live data, where we have to fetch the data. So we are trying to create the new data set, and so this is the data it's created. How do airplanes fly or something. So all these multiple categories. Now after this, once that is created, all the 450, I save this under my drive here. The next thing is, as I mentioned, we are going to use the base model, which is DistilBERT base, and also it is coming from Hugging Face. And as I mentioned, we are going to create three categories: static, knowledge base, and live data. And here we have mentioned num label 3, that means architecturally, or it cannot. So we are here creating three neurons: static, knowledge base, and live data. And that's why the num label is 3, so that it cannot create any new category like we were seeing earlier, like games or economics. So here we are creating these three new categories for the data data set. Now here we are using that data set, and we are trying to test and validate. And here if you see, we are splitting into train slash validation 90 by 10. What does it mean basically? So we are going to train 405 records and validating on 46. That means out of 450 records, we are going to train only 405, and once they are trained, we are going to validate them on the whether the model is trained correctly or not on the 46 record which are remaining. If all the 46 record which we are getting get the correct answer, that means, when I say correct answer, that means we got the correct category for those questions, that means our model is trained correctly. But if the they did not come in correctly, that means the training is still required, or the data set has a problem. So that's where I am. This is where we are doing the training now. Here, this is the epoch, and we are using number of train epoch, means 5 times we are training. Batch size is 16, all these things, and then we started the training. So keep an eye on the training loss, validation loss. So if you see the training loss, it's coming well, and the validation and accuracy, if you see, it is 1 epoch 3, that means it's 100% accuracy rate. Training loss, if it is too low, that means it's not training. It's like how we discussed in SFT or other training. It could be overfitting if it is too low. So training loss, you have to keep an eye. Now once the training is completed, we have to test it against our data set which we had on our pi. So I have another data set which I have these questions, like what is gravity and how is that. So I already set the ground level truth for them, like, okay, this comes under static, this comes under excuse me, knowledge base, or who scored a hat trick in against Brazil yesterday, like live data. So that is something I'm going to test with the train model. So let's see how it comes. So when I test this against with the train model, the accuracy is coming 82%. Why it is 82%? If you see the errors are like, does the sun still rise? It's, we have given that classifier as a static, but it is predicted as a live data. So most of the questions which have still, we have predicted them static, but we are getting live data. That means the model is not trained to how to figure out the category when there is a keyword called still or today or something like that. So it is by default giving the data category as a live data, because it is saying when the keyword is still present in the query, that means live data. When we try to run the same test without the static, without the questions where we have still keywords, then the accuracy was 92%. So we tried adding more questions which has this keyword still, and this reduce our accuracy 82%. So that means it's not like the model is wrong or anything doing wrong. That means we train the model with the data which has less number of patterns about the still keywords or today. So what is the next step? We are going to create more questions which have more patterns, like has still keyword. So here I am creating again more questions, and I created another 50 questions. Some of them like, are dinosaur still extinct, moon still have craters. So here you can see we have given examples. So we have created 50 more questions for that, and the training is completed. So now again doing the same steps, we are training it, creating the data set, again train and validate 450, then doing the training, and now we are going to retest with again the same questions. Now this time when we are running the test, which has all the questions which I showed you here in our questions, like which has a lot of still questions. Now how it is going to be the percentage? So now this time the percentage increased to 93%. So that brings the point. That means the data has to be balanced, and it should have sufficient patterns, so that model can make those, understand those patterns. So now when we have added 50 more questions of that type, of that pattern type, it worked fine. The next step is, once the training is completed, I am creating a zip file and putting into my drive. Once putting into the drive, now the next thing is download this into my Pi robot and run it. So let's see. So I downloaded it, and I have pipeline routed. Here I have classified. So here what I am doing is cat. I am using this model path, which is nothing but DistilBERT classifier final model, which I showed you here. That's what we have zipped it and downloaded. And I'm asking this basic question: what is this? What are those questions come under what category? So let me run that and see what category it is coming. Okay, so here if you see the question, we asked like, what is gravity? Category is static, which is correct. That means it is going to the llama. If tell me about Ramayana, which is basically a Hindu epic, so this is about the knowledge base. That means it's going to the Chroma DB. And who is hosting the FIFA World Cup? That means live data. We are going to make a API call. And if the Earth is still spinning, that means static. That means even if it has a keyword called still that, but model is able to classify it correctly, and it is going to category static. Now how to integrate this with our rack pipeline? So I have created routed sorry Okay, so here we are using it. So under there are three categories. We are using DistilBERT, classifier, final, and here is the base model which we are using, which we have trained using GRPO, and here we are actually checking these categories under. So here it is. So here we are checking if the category is static, and that's where we are using ask llama, and we are checking the category classify query. So if the category is static, it will go to the llama. If the query is, if the otherwise, or if it is not a static, it will knowledge base or live, it is going to the ChromaDB right now. We can make it more advanced in terms of, like, once we will have the MCPs integrated, then we can say if it is live data, then integrate with the MCPs. So that's how we are integrating now. So let's run this. Okay. What is gravity? So if you see the what is gravity, the classifier is static. That means it is working correctly.
Gravity is like a big hug from the earth hugging face. It pulls us toward it and keeps us on the ground. Imagine you're playing tug of war with your friends person female, but instead of using strings, gravity uses its mighty arms to hold everything in place.
Tell me about Ramayana.
I don't have information about that in my knowledge base yet.
But
ask me something else, or teach me about it. Robot box.
Who scored the hat-trick in FIFA World Cup? Okay, if you see here, when I ask who scored the hat-trick in FIFA World Cup, the classifier is live
Messi
data.
broke the World
That means
Cup scoring
our
record.
category is working fine. And
he achieved this by
if
scoring
I ask
his
about
17th
like
and
any
18th
about
goal in an
Ramayana or any
Argentina
other
win.
thing, it is
This
it is
means
going to
he's
the
now
knowledge base.
on
So
top
that
of the
means it is
leaderboard
our
for most
category
goals scored at a
classification is
World
working
Cup
correctly.
party popper. Messi's incredible goal scoring record is truly impressive, and he's likely going to be remembered as one of the greatest players of all time.
So that's all in this video. As we see, like, our categorization of is working correctly now. All the three categories, it's working fine. It's static, knowledge base, and the live data. So now in the next video we are going to integrate the MCP. So whenever we got the live data, we will have the MCP is integrated for that particular live data, and we will get that data, embed and fetch it, and display it here, integrate with our voice pipeline robot. Till then, thank you so much. Bye.